Hello and welcome to another license to sell video tutorial. This is video 6 of the tutorials, and this is all about the test mode. So we're going to go into General's deck for our third mates exam, and we're going to go to test. So test, I highly recommend that you study the whole subject, both subsubjects, before testing. So at the top here, we have random question test, generated tests, and then your modules, your sampling tests. So if I hit random question test, this thing is going to pop up. Now, if it doesn't pop up, go back and select it again. Sometimes that error happens, but usually it doesn't. But this will pop up, and at the top is official test emulation. So this is the amount of questions that are actually on your exam, which is 70 questions for module 111. So if I click on that, which I will, it'll generate an exam. The reason why it takes a while to do this is because what it does is it actually goes through all the sample exams, through all those verified questions, and sees which subject ID has shown up the most. And questions that have a higher probability will show up on this test, this emulated test, and then it'll go down the line for lesser probability, and then it will just kind of pick a random question that's not verified. So if I flip through all these, you can see that some are verified, some are not. The ones that are verified are probably high probability that'll show up. And so when you select a answer, it actually highlights purple, so it doesn't actually show you what the answer is until you actually finish the exam. And once you've answered everything, a grade button will pop up, and you click on that grade button, and then it will show you what percentage you've gotten wrong, and then it'll ask you if you want to go through a test overview. So let's go ahead and let's do a shorter test. Let's go ahead and hit random question test, and then we'll hit 10 question test. And we'll go ahead and just answer randomly these questions here. I'm going through each question. You can see that it's counting down. And now I've answered all the questions, and you can go back and make corrections. Now when you make corrections, if you tap on it, you're going to see it, but they both highlight. But if I go to the next one and go back, that's corrected. I'll have to fix that problem there. But now that I've answered all the questions, I can go ahead and hit grade, and it says I've completed the test. Now I've scored at 20%. Obviously, this is demonstration purposes, but it asks if you like to go over the missed questions. Yeah, sure I do. When you do that, it'll pull up all your missed questions. So this looks right. I got 20%. Well, that's just 2 questions. So yeah, I got 8 questions wrong. And you can flip through all those questions and go through the explainers and see what you got wrong. Now, if I go back, I've also got sample exams. So if you want to test over a sample exam, you can do that. I would highly recommend doing that closer towards the exam date, like the week before, rather than do it now, because you don't want to memorize all those questions quickly for each test, sample test. But this button right here is generated tests. So if I click on that, you get a generated test menu. So you can see that we've had that emulated test. It's labeled as 111, and we've created it 3 minutes ago. And it's 70 questions. If I click on that, it brings up a little drop-down menu. And if I wanted to, I could retake that test. Or I could view my history of taking that test. So there was no test history because we never completed this test. But if I go over to that 10-question test that we took, and I hit view test history, there is that first attempt that we've made. And you actually click on it, and it'll show you all the answers, even the ones right that you've got all wrong. So that's really cool there. And then you can print the test as well. So if I click print test, it actually generates a PDF. And at the very bottom, it shows all the answers. So if you're an instructor and you want to generate random tests for your students, you can do that so in License to Sail. And you can just go ahead and send it off into a PDF or print it somewhere, and there you go. And then if you want, you can delete the test. So I'm going to hit delete, and then I'm just back to that 70 question test. So yeah, that is your test mode. Another place you could actually take tests, and I've shown it before, is if you go into Study Bank and categories, and you can pick a category here like cargo handling and storage. You can see test this category. Now, if I actually test this category, it's going to test over 738 questions. So that's a lot of questions. So yeah, if I hit that, I got 738 questions to go. So don't really highly recommend doing that. But this is actually really great for like the smaller ones, like credentialing of seamen. There's only 13 questions, and you can test that category. But I might give some more improvements to this to where you can narrow down to a certain amount of questions. But for now, it just tests over everything. So that is test modes explained. And of course, the latest score I've had was 20%, and the highest I've had was 20%, and it shows up right here. And then you can click this button to reset your scores right there, your recent high score. But that is test mode explained. So I highly recommend, once you've studied that whole that subject, then go ahead and test for that subject. It is highly recommended that you try to shoot for a 90 on all your exams. That way you're really 100% sure that you're going to pass the exams in test mode. So that's it for our video tutorial series of License to Sail. I hope you've got a better understanding of how the app works, the layout works, and good luck on your exams.